Good morning and welcome to this morning's session with Dr. Bob Nichols. We appreciate you all coming to be part of this, and especially those watching us online. We thank God for you. Later, we will provide an outline of today's teaching to you, so you can go along with what he's going to teach. But I believe that this session is so important, especially with what God has been doing in 2025. But folks, we are so excited because of what we're hearing and where God is taking the body of Christ as a whole in 2026. And, when we get these teachings under our belt and how to trust, it's going to be a great year. So be encouraged. So my friend, my pastor, let's welcome Dr. Bob Nichols.
Thank you. You're very kind. There we go. Good morning. I heard him use the word y'all. Now, is that a New Mexico thing? I'm from Texas.
It's a southern thing.
Okay, there we go. That's good enough. It's a southern thing. Hope you're doing well. These Saturdays, what the intention of the Saturday is, I want to be able to leave some kind of deposit to where you walk out of here with another tool in your relationship tool belt. It's not just to teach you a truth. I want you to have something that can affect your relationships, affect how you live in a real tangible way. I spent so much of my early years as a young believer. I'd go and listen to messages, and I heard millions, and you probably have too. And you walk away and you think, how do you even do that? Number one's the hurdle, trying to understand what they're talking about. And then after you get through that hurdle, how do you do it? And so it's really important to me that things are practical for you and that you know a bit of how to do some things. Today we're going to talk a little bit about reconnecting trust. How many of you have ever had a trust broken? Why even take the risk? Why trust? Probably one of the least liked things is being deceived, being cheated, being lied to. Probably everybody in this room is at some time you've entered into a relationship where you've not told the whole truth because you're afraid you're going to hurt them. Nod your heads this way. And then when they find out that you didn't tell the truth later, of course, your intention, your motive was good. I don't want to hurt them, so I'm not giving them the whole lowdown. But when they find out later you didn't tell them the whole truth, they feel lied to, cheated. And then from that point on, they have more difficulty trusting you again. Do you see how it works? But the fact of the matter is, common sense tells you some distrust is appropriate. Society teaches us to distrust, doesn't it? Don't take rides with strangers. How many of you believe the advertisements? If you do, I have something. We have the phrase, people many times, most of the times, probably put their best foot forward. What does that translate to? What you see is not what you get. What you see is what they want you to see. And then in this day and age of what we call fake news, how in heaven do you even know what to believe anymore? You can flip the channel and within 30 seconds, you'll find somebody telling you what you think is right. So the whole idea is, we don't know how to trust. Society has taught us not to trust. So for you and I to get something into our tool belt that helps us reconnect broken trust, that is absolutely huge, because trust is the fabric of all of our relationships. Let me say that again. Relationships are the fabric of families and societies, communities, and trust is the fabric of those relationships. Let me give you some factoids about trust. These are real interesting to me. Trusting people have better interpersonal relationships. People low in trust tend to be more angry, competitive, resentful, and unempathetic. By the way, as we launch, I see some of you are note takers. I commend you. There's no way under heaven you're going to keep up with me. I mean, I will fire way too much. It'll be like drinking out of a fire hydrant. You know, by the time you get through, you got very little water except your lips are all blown off. You know, that's about all that happens. So there will be a either QR code or there'll be a link that will be available for you so that you can have an outline of my notes. And so even these little factoids that I'm giving you are in the notes. So I think that'll be of help to you. Let me give you another one. Trusting but not naive people tend to be happier, better liked by others, more honest, more moralistic, philanthropic than less trusting people. Another, not all distrustful people are dishonest themselves. However, there is a trend in that direction. And you'll also see in your notes the statistics where I drew these statistics from. High and low trusters are about the same in intelligence. So just because you're not a truster doesn't mean you're smarter. You might think trusters are more gullible, but psychologist Julian Rotter, no longer alive, says no. The higher truster frequently takes the view, I'll trust them until they do something to me and show me wrong. But they seem to be able to detect the cues of dishonest people. Rotter says further, a distrustful person is more likely to be taken by a con artist. Now, doesn't that sound like it ought to be the opposite? How come? Let me give you a little tidbit behind this. The dishonest person believes the world is crooked and that's how everybody's trying to make a fast buck. So when the drug dealer comes and says, I need 500, I've got to buy a part for the plane that's down in Mexico and if you'll give me $500 today and 10 days when the plane comes back, I'll give you $10,000. The dishonest person hands over his or her $500. I can make a quick buck, 10 days. My 500 turns into 10,000. But a moralistic, trusting person is more likely to say, I don't want to get involved in anything that's shady or dishonest or illegal. Do you begin to see how someone who is a bit skewed in their trust, they'll tend to get sucked in? Distrusting people tend to be more competitive rather than cooperative. Trusting people are more likely to give someone a second chance. I like that. So these are just some factoids. Trust is the fabric of your relationship, and when that trust is broken, we engage in a feeling that's known as betrayal. How many of you have ever felt betrayal? By the way, if you're looking at dysfunctions, relationship dysfunctions that create pain, betrayal is one of the top three. Rejection, abandonment, and betrayal create an incredible amount of pain. All right, there are two ingredients that comprise disconnected trust. When a trust relationship is broken, there's two ingredients you'll need to be cognizant of that'll help you be able to work through the things. The first is the type of violation. Okay, was the trust that is broken, is it just simply the little white lie? How do we ever get applying a color to a white lie versus what? A purple one? You know, I don't know. Is it a little white lie? Is it deceit? Is it cheating? Is it an infidelity? So the type of violation. Secondly, the level of the relationship that's violated. Okay, is it just an acquaintance? Is it a friend? Is it your life partner? A work colleague? Your spouse? Just your neighbor who just told you something that wasn't the whole truth? Nothing but the truth? Okay, those two ingredients, type of violation and the level of the relationship, are absolutely critical in you understanding distrust, because distrust is going to have several different levels inside of you and how it plays out in your life. So why trust? Basically, when people are hurting because of broken relationship, because of broken trust, it falls into two different categories. First is what we call a moralistic approach. A moralistic, in other words, these are ways that we try to deal with it. The moralistic approach looks for cause and effect within a set of morals. Cause and effect. What caused this or effect? And for Christians, we find our set of morals where? Usually in the Bible. So this approach requires a change of mind, a change of behavior through usually a choice process. By choosing to embrace certain principles, choosing to embrace certain truths, choosing to embrace change, we adapt a different behavior and we're able to reconnect trust. Does that make sense? Moralistic. But the second is the psychological approach. And by the way, I personally don't believe they have to be either or. I believe you can have combinations. The psychological approach tries to find out what's going wrong in here, internally, emotionally, mentally, our thought processes, how we're processing an event in our lives, how we process what that person just said, which we found out isn't the whole truth. So we look on the inside and we begin to explore to find the roots of what caused the problem, what caused the broken trust. And then we chart a course to a better self-awareness, the who, the what, the when, the why, the how of that issue that caused the problem, and then find a better way of coping with it. Okay, so we have moralistic and psychological approaches. I personally believe there's a third one, and it's what I'm going to talk to you about. The third one I call a connection approach. Connection approach. Could it possibly be that we are made in the image of God? And because we're in the image of God, we have this supernatural endowment, deposit, that enables us to connect with people. I believe God has put within you and I the ability to look past the surface and to see the goodness and the greatness that He's put inside that other person and to connect with that. How many of you believe God has put greatness inside of each person? I do. I don't believe man is intrinsically evil. I believe God has deposited some really good stuff inside of us. So here's my premise. We are made in the image of God. Therefore, we have the ability to behave like God. But right next to that, number two, the gift of salvation gives us the Holy Spirit, who allows us first to connect with God, and then on a new and deeper level, because of this, we're able to connect here. And we don't connect with that person just based on what we see, their behavior. We connect with that person based on something we are able to connect with because we're in the image of God that has to do with the greatness God has put inside of them. The goodness God has put inside of them. Look at the Trinity. The Trinity is an eternal community of three fully connected persons. You okay with that? When I talk slow like that, I'm not insulting you. It's because each of those words is very important. I'm a teacher, so I'm word sensitive. And each of those words are important for you to understand the concept I'm trying to present to you. The Trinity is an eternal community of three fully connected persons. They've delighted in each other for all of eternity. There's no shadow of envy, not the smallest bit of jealousy between them. And they love to do what is best for each other. Y'all okay? Remember, God made us in His image. So we have this capacity to enjoy one another also. But we must rely on this relationship with God to give us an ability to see and then connect with the goodness God has put within that other person, especially when what they just did or what they just said doesn't reflect goodness. All right. This connecting is so powerful because it absolutely requires you to look past the surface and to see their divine potential. If you're making notes, that's a phrase you need. I want to learn how to connect with their divine potential rather than their behavior dysfunctions. I want to learn how to connect with their divine potential rather than just their behavior dysfunction. I'm just watching until you put your pens down, and I know you're ready to go again. So when we come into a broken relationships, one of our first postures needs to be, God, show me what's really going on the inside. Give me a vision for what this person could be like. Show me some of the greatness you've put inside of them. Not what I'm getting, not the face full of what I just got, not the earful of what I just got, not just the broken dysfunctional behavior and all that has gone along with that. I want to be able to connect with something besides that. Are y'all okay? I keep asking you that because I know it's early in the morning, and if you were up late last night, this is an early morning thing. So how do you develop trust? How do you reconnect broken trust? There are going to be 3 stages. These are going to be huge. And then we're going to do some activation. I'm going to talk for a few minutes. We'll activate, take a break, and we'll come back, talk a little more, and activate, and then dismiss. You okay? All right. 3 stages. There's 2 basic approaches, and then I'm going to give you a third. The first approach is this, the most common. When you're trying to heal, to reconnect where trust has been broken, it always begins with a choice. You ever tried to heal a relationship and the other person doesn't want it? And they may give you the line, I'm just not there yet. Can't handle it. Talk to the hand, kind of thing. You have to choose to trust. By the way, trust is a choice. Now, faith is not, but trust is. Trust is the doorway to faith. In fact, let me explain it this way. If I'm trying to restore, reconnect a broken trust relationship, the doorway to where I've got to go to do this, to heal this, to reconnect this, is called the doorway of trust. So I've got to choose to walk through that door. Now, once I get in that door, I am in for the fight of my life. I'm in for a battle, and the battle is to believe. Am I going to believe that person again? And what we usually do is that we attach our belief to their performance. Well, I can't really trust you right now. I don't really believe in you right now. But after you, let's give you a track record. And we do this in very subtle ways. Somebody has a failure in their life, and we certainly don't choose to trust them until they've demonstrated that they've already come through that failure. Part of the reason I also pause is just so you can think, so that you can apply what we just said to your own life. I mean, how many times does that happen? And depending on their performance, determines whether or not I finally come all the way through that room, started through the doorway of trust, came into that room, we're going to call it the battle to believe, and finally I come to a place where I have faith in them again. I trust you. And we'll express it like, I trust you. We have come to faith. Now, how do we do that? How do we make that progression through that battling? It's usually based on their behavior. Because if they trip and bust their nose again, and then again, first time, woe is me, second time, woe is you. I'm not. Are y'all okay? You with me? That is probably the most common way that we try to heal, fix, restore broken trust relationship. Let me give you a second approach. Now, this one's huge, really important. Same illustration. We got to make the choice to go through the doorway of trust. But now, the battle that we're engaged once we're in that room, the next step after I want to keep going on this relationship. I want to keep working on it. I want to try to reconnect the trust. Now we're not battling to believe in them based on their performance. Now we're going to take a different approach in the room. We are going to battle on their behalf. And we're going to keep battling till we see complete breakthrough and can say, I have come to have faith in you. I've come to trust you again. What was the difference between those two? Well, the first one that I mentioned, we are in a battle, struggling to believe, but our focus and our concentration is their ongoing performance, whether they do it again or not. And we always refer to the track record. Well, they've got this track record of lying. They have this track record of infidelity. They have this, okay, I got you. I understand that. I understand why you're choosing not to just swallow that hook, line, and sinker. It makes sense. But what I'm proposing to you is that there is a different process to reconnecting trust than just staying in this relationship, the ebb and flow of whether or not they are successful or not successful, fail again, succeed for a little while, take one step forward, two steps back, all that stuff as you're battling to reconnect the trust. There is another alternative. Are any of y'all believe in prayer? That's amazing. I only saw about half the hands. That's maybe we ought to stop and change subjects here. How many of you believe in intercession? Which is a deeper level of prayer, but it focuses not on you, but it focuses on someone else. So what I'm beginning to challenge you and starting to challenge you with this morning, that there is another alternative rather than you focusing on that other person's performance, how they walk, whether they fail, fall, or succeed. There's another alternative for you. I'm challenging you, Mr. Spiritual and Miss Spiritual, to take up a place of intercession on behalf of that person and now take the weight of responsibility for their behavior, their successes and their failures on your shoulders. I mean, after all, especially if it's the most intimate of relationships, especially if it's a spouse you're talking about, didn't you say you're one with them? Okay, cowboy up, let's see it. What does that mean? That means now I'm joining with them, hooking my arms, yoked with them. I'm going to accept the responsibility along with them. I'm not negating their responsibility. I'm not saying it's okay to do what you did. But I am saying I'm going to join arms with you, and from now on, I'm going to become your personal intercessor. I'm going to battle hell up one side and down the other until we see the breakthrough that you need. But I want you to know I'm taking responsibility also. You take some? Yes. But I'm joining arms and I'm going to take it too. It will change your outlook. Now, the difficulty is that when that broken trust happens, many times we get wounded. And when our hearts are wounded and we're feeling the impact of being betrayed, then I don't really want to do that. You do it, man. You're the one that made the mess. You made the bed, lie in it. Y'all okay? Why are you not smiling at me? So this approach does not depend on their track record. because you just got in it with them. Now, I'm going to give you a spiritual ditty here, a little spiritual insight, revelation, whatever term you apply to those things. I don't want to get too deep in it because I'm more concerned with you getting the practical than I am whether or not you understand all the spiritual revelation. Here's the thought. Galatians 2:20. How many of you know that verse? It's a great verse. You need a verse to memorize that. I'm crucified with Christ, nevertheless I live, yet not I, but the life that I now live, I live by the faith. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, did you put it up there? Look at you. Y'all are so good. Yeah, look at what he says. Why did you have to use NLT? That is one goofy translation. Anyway, I'm crucified with Christ, but notice it says at the end, I live by the faith in, and then it's waiting for the next slide to jump up there. In the Son of God who loved me and gave himself. That's great theology, and I believe it. It's a truth, but it's not what the verse says. Go back to the first one. First slide. Look right at the end. I'm trusting in the Son of God is how it goes on. Now, and in Greek, that's what we call a possessive genitive. The word I'm referring to is the word, probably the most important word in that verse, and it is the word in. I-N. Now, you don't need to know what all the Greek stuff says and means, but what that actually means, it shows that God is the one who owns the faith. It is a possessive word. So it is saying the life that I'm now living, I'm not living by my faith. I'm living by God's faith. And sometimes somehow he connects with us, deposits his faith within us. It is such a beautiful picture in contrast to our faith because it always connects to our potential. You might think, well, God has faith? Why does God need faith? Because he's got to work with you. So that first means of reconnecting or restoring trust, most common, most popular, I choose to trust. I'm in the battle to believe, and my belief is determined on their performance. If they do good, then we get reconnected trust and we move on. And over a period of time, those past things are replaced, not removed, by new things, new good decisions, etc., etc. That's the first, most common. The second one, the one I'm challenging you to, is where when we enter, we agree to stay in the relationship, we're going to get this trust reconnected, but we're not sitting there focused on their behavior, whether they succeed or not. We are looping arms with them, getting in the muck and the mire with them, and we're becoming their personal intercessor, and we're going to fight until they have a breakthrough. Instead of you sitting around licking your wounds and pointing your finger. Y'all okay way back there? The back row, cheap seats? I don't know why I say that. We're going to get in it, and we're going to fight for you. And if you start to struggle, if I catch you in a slip-up, I'm going to call you out on it, but then I'm going to go to battle for you, okay? Come on, let's join hands. I called you out on it. You admitted it. I'm not negating the other person's responsibility at all. They've got to be in this process. But what I am trying to do is to join you in that process. You, the one who has been offended. You, the one who's been hurt. You're the one who's been violated. I'm trying to join you in the process because if you do this second one, it'll bring healing to you. And who's the one who usually gets the most screwed over in this kind of stuff? The one who gets hurt. The one who gets violated. The one who gets lied to. Promise broken. All right, y'all seem to be doing okay. All right. What type of person do you trust? Did you know there are actually certain characteristics that cause people to want to trust you? Now, some of you know some of my background, so you know I have a bit of a psychology background as well. Let me profile a person for you of trust. A trustworthy person. That means I'm going to give you what we call markers, some of their attributes that cause people to want to trust you. They're honest. We call that morality absolute. They're honest. Yeah, I like to trust honest people. They have good or healthy self-esteem. That means they're not needy. They're not always walking around. Every conversation doesn't turn around to be about them. They're empathetic. They have a good level of self-disclosure. We call that transparency. They're transparent. They don't just share with you. Yeah, I love it when preachers, speakers share some of their own journey, some of their own failures, some of their own humanity, some of their own transparency. What does that do? That endears me to believe more of what they say, because they're not standing up there like a pious whatever telling me what I've done wrong. All right. They're able to accept criticism. They're very forgiving. Those are just some attributes of a person who endears trust. Let me flip it, show you the opposites. Most of them you can already imagine. They're not transparent. What does that mean? They're guarded. They're need-driven. It's always about them. They're amoral, or amoral, as you want to call it. That means they're not completely honest. They're very restricted in their feelings and allowing you to see their feelings, especially allowing you to touch their feelings. They're judgmental, critical, resentful, competitive, and they have a track record of distrust. All right, I'm just giving you a little snapshot. So again, once a decision to trust is made, we're beginning to watch repeated experiences of trust and honesty and forgiveness and empathy to reinforce the decisions to activate your believing. That's especially those that are in the group one. That's how they're dealing with their broken trust. Men and women, everybody needs somebody to believe in them. I talked to you about going through the door of trust, first step. Entering the room, the battle to believe. And if you're going through plan B, then you're going through the intercession battle to believe. Till finally we come to this place of rest, or we come to this place where we now have faith in that person. There's a whole lot of difference between faith coming to you. How does faith come to you? Very good. How do you come to faith? Different. Through trials and tribulations. Welcome to life. But see, the whole purpose of this reconnecting trust is to get you to a place where now you have come to have faith in that person. You will usually voice it like this: I trust you. I have faith in them. No longer is this going to be an ongoing process. But now we have come to a place of resolve. No more tests. Now I have faith in you. Now here comes the inevitable question. What do you do when your trust is betrayed, when you're lied to, you're cheated, whatever? What do you do? What should be your first step? Well, let me interrupt your thought process, because usually your first step is an anger and a calling them to accountability. And what I want to suggest to you, if you manage to disconnect yourself from the situation, I need to take 10. I need a bathroom call, whatever excuse you need to go get away for a moment and get alone between you and God. If you'll do what I'm about to suggest to you, you'll be in a lot better place to get on this journey to reconnect your trust. What am I going to suggest? That you get alone and you do some forgiving. But wait a minute, they haven't asked me for forgiveness. I didn't say anything about them.
There you go.
I'm talking about you, your attitude, your heart, and God.
Thank you.
Those of you that have been around me for a while, I've shared this at least 20 times with this church. So this will make the 21st. I'm going to give you 6 really important keys to help you choose to forgive even before they ask. You ready? Number 1, forgiveness is a choice. It's not a feeling. And when you feel like forgiving the least is probably when you need to do it the most. It is a choice. It's not a feeling. Number 2, you don't forgive because they're worth it. You forgive because He asked us to forgive. Yes, Jesus, our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be your name. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. You prayed so many times, haven't you? But you don't mean that. If you did, then you'd jump right into this. No, you want to forgive them because they've earned it back, because they confessed, because they humbled themselves, because they... Come on, guys, y'all need to smile. We don't forgive because they're worth it. We forgive because He asks us to forgive. Number 3, you don't forgive out of your own resources. You don't forgive like you're laying an egg. It's... Here's how you forgive. Forgiveness is really a transfer of the mercy God has given you. How many of you know His mercy is new every morning? How many of you have, for some issue in your own life or whatever you're walking through and in, you have received mercy fresh and new this past week? I hope you have. Because the people who have the most difficulty with forgiving are those who don't have a fresh experience with the mercy of God. So what you're actually doing, you're taking some of that mercy He's given you, and you're taking that little cup and dipping it into that reservoir of your heart, taking out a cup full of mercy and pouring it over their head, and then we call that forgiveness. So forgiveness is not out of your own resources, but from the mercy He's given you. Number 4, when you forgive, you have to release expectations and rights. Your forgiveness will be incomplete, and that's what most Christians walk in, is partial or proportionate forgiveness. To the degree the other guy does his thing, confesses, makes up, restitutes, whatever words we're using, that's how much we forgive. We don't forgive completely. And one of the main things that holds us in this pattern of unforgiveness or partial forgiveness is because we've not let go of our expectations. We've not let go of our rights. I mean, I have a right, don't I? Hey, you're the one who screwed up in this thing. Yeah, Mr. Perfect. Number 5, I love this verse. Hebrews 10:18 says this. It says, this is a verse that's in the New Testament. Sounds like it got misplaced. It belonged back over in Genesis or Exodus or something over there. Listen to it. It says, where there is forgiveness, there no longer remains an offering for sin. And you think, God, offering for sin? I mean, that's what Jesus, why are they putting that in here? Here's why. The word offering literally means a price to be paid or something to be done. Okay, insert that in. Where there is forgiveness, you are saying to that person, there's no other price to be paid, nothing else that you have to do. I release you. And you say, no, wait a minute. If I do that, they're just going to get up and run right back over me. No, you're not a doormat. God didn't create you to be a doormat. He did create you to forgive completely, but then to learn how to use boundaries in your life. That's another relational tool that you need in your tool belt. I'm not talking about it today. We'll do it another time. Learn how to use boundaries. So I forgive completely, but to ensure they don't get up and smack me again, I'm putting boundaries in place. Okay? That's what enables you to do number 5. Okay, number 6, lastly, finally, then we're going to do an activation. Here we go. Where it's necessary, forgive yourself. I'm telling you, men and women, it's a whole lot harder to forgive yourself than it is to forgive others. You ever notice how we use this dual standard? We judge others based on what they do. We judge ourselves based on our motive. Or we flip it around if it's to our advantage. You know, and the irony of that is that inability to forgive yourself actually sounds like it has a note of humility to it. You know, I'm really calling myself to task. But did you know inability to forgive yourselves actually not related to humility, it's related to pride? You want to know why? Because what it is saying is, Jesus, what you did on the cross is good enough for everybody else, but it's not good enough for me. Whoa. Okay. Y'all okay? Can you take a breath? Now, there you go. Deep cleansing breath. I want you to take a moment and I want you to share with whoever you came with, and if you didn't come with anybody, that's okay. You can sit and watch the others. Free entertainment. I want you to share with another person, and during this activation, if you need to go find yourself another little corner of the room where you can talk a little more privately, you can do that. I want you to share with whoever you came with 3 areas of that person's life that you really trust them in. I'm flipping it on you. That you trust them in. See, trust can be compartmentalized. We haven't talked about that yet. In other words, honey, I can trust you with the kids. I can trust you with a number of things, but I don't trust you with the finances. You know, that's compartmentalized trust. It's not wrong. It's just, it's a practical. So I want you to share 3 areas. This is parenting 101, but it's also relationship skill. Before you're going to get to the privilege of sharing with them one area that you might be struggling to trust in, before you give a child a correction, always give them a reinforcement. Man, you're doing so awesome in this. I think this is really great what God has you doing, et cetera, et cetera. And we always do a 3-for-1, a 3-4. 3 affirmations to 1 correction. So I'm going to have you give 3 areas that you really trust that person in. Karina's going, oh, Jesus, help me. Her eyes about that big. I love them. And then you're going to share one thing that you might be struggling with. And when you're through, then that person's going to pray for you. then you're going to flip it, and you're going to do the other. So if this is a guy-girl thing, husband-wife thing, husband, you're going to go first. 3 things you trust your wife in. And you may trust her in everything. Good, great. Identify 3. That'll affirm her. And if you're not able to find something you don't trust in, that's okay as well. You know, and that's either evidence that the relationship is doing pretty healthy. It could be evidence you're in a bit of denial. Because there's usually some area where we struggle a bit. Don't be afraid. This isn't the time we're going to discuss it. This is just a time that we are going to pray for each other. We're going to affirm 3 areas, and then one area we're struggling with, that we want some help. You're soliciting their intercession on your behalf. Are you okay? You were smiling earlier. Now some of you kind of got the. All right, let's go ahead and do that. Break up to wherever you want to go. Again, if you're here solo, that's okay. You can all go and confess to Father. Is there anything you want to say before?
I think we just need to go ahead and shut the live stream off. Okay. This concludes this morning's session, but let's go ahead and do as he says, and then he'll close it completely. But I want to encourage those of you watching online to continue and participate as the people in this room are participating as well. We will also be providing the outline to this teaching later, and not today, not tomorrow, not next week. You know, we will post it so even those of you watching online can have access to it. But we also want to facilitate or give you an opportunity to continue to apply this to your lives, whether it's in your marriage and single life and so forth. We're going to be hosting some small groups as a year. Our year already started here at CitiLife Church, December 1st. And we're going to be hosting small groups like marriage, singles, women's teachings, and I've already spoken to some of you, but Irina and I will be facilitating a lot of those small groups, because we don't want you just to get this teaching and then do what you're going to do right now and then leave it. We want it to be a process, because he will be back and we will continue and throughout the year, so you can grow strong and so forth. So we just want to thank those of you that are watching us online. We thank, yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Oh,
say goodbye to them.
Bye. Go ahead. Thank you, and we'll see you tomorrow.